Hey YouTube, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to do some more configurations on my TP-Link network. I'm going to try and connect my edge switch to my backbone switch using the fiber modules that I have in here. I originally planned these fiber modules to be connected to my gigabit internet, and if you have seen my previous videos, you'll recall that it didn't work because AT&T has to be connected to their own proprietary modem to be able to do the authentication. So I still have to use their modem and not be able to use the SFP module for the gigabit uplink. But I got another gigabit module to connect my edge switch to my backbone switch. And again, I apologize if I always say I'm thinking of, I don't have any script in here, and I'm not an expert on these devices. And if you know more about these things, and if you see that I have been doing something wrong, or you have other tips and tricks that you can share, please do. But for now, what I'm going to do is have these two devices, the backbone switch and the edge switch, be connected through the fiber uplink. Again, I'm looking at my screen in here. You can see that I started with a very simple network. This is the right out of the box configurations that I started with. I have the AT&T internet and the Comcast internet. The AT&T is the gigabit, and the Comcast is a failover 50 megabit connection through cable. I have this TL-ER7206 as my VPN and gateway router. I have the OC300 as my controller, Omada controller, to configure my network altogether. And I transformed it in my previous video into a little bit more elaborate. Still not the final configuration I wanted it to be, but it's taking shape. In this diagram, you will notice, those who have seen my previous videos, I have added the SSIDs because in my previous video I never really defined it, but I figured since I was doing the video already and configuring the network, I added the Wi-Fi SSIDs. But in the previous video, the main change is that I have a trunk port configured between the network devices, the router, the switch, the backbone switch, and I have rerouted the OC300. Okay, I'm having a hard time controlling this zoom and unzoom with my mouse. Okay, I have this OC300 in the very first one. This was my only device, and my laptop is directly connected to the OC300 to the single port of the OC300, and it acts as my access port to the network. Now I move the OC300 towards the bottom on my second video as part of a client uplink on my edge switch. Okay, and like I said, I have defined a trunk port wherein several VLANs are defined through just one uplink. See here, so that's the uplink. So that's just a review. This is the TL-ER7206 at the top, connected to the backbone switch, which is in this particular setup is the bottom, connected to my PoE switch, second to the bottom, and then my PoE switch connected to the controller, to the access point, to the laptop, and now in this particular screen that you can see, I have connected a Pi device powered to the PoE as well. So I'll have to add that in my transformation video. So in this video, what I would like to achieve is to maintain this uplink, because I cannot use the fiber uplink, is to maintain this UTP uplink to the backbone switch. But from the backbone switch, to save on the UTP port, I would like to use the fiber uplink from the backbone switch to the PoE. This will free up one RJ45 port to the edge switch, and one RJ45 port to the backbone switch. And one advantage of the fiber uplink is the distance. For most home installations, it's not really gonna matter. The UTP uplink should be enough for most of the distances throughout the home. But if you are going to connect the one network device to another in a very long distance, let's say first floor to a fifth floor, fiber uplink is really required because they support much more distance. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and I already have this connected. I'll update the diagram later on, but in this diagram, as you can see here, I marked the fiber uplink, the trunk port, as a brown color. The existing trunk port through UTP are still marked as green, as you can see here. I still haven't configured the connectivity between the OC300 to the edge switch as purely as a management access port. I just leave it as a trunk. The native VLAN is 1, so it's still acceptable. Not the best configuration. I'm still too lazy to do that. But for the access point, still have it on trunk as well. Again, the reason is that I have several VLANs and SSIDs configured at this particular wall plate access point. This gives me access to, this provides Wi-Fi access for the IoT, for the family, and the management VLAN as well. Okay. So, to demonstrate, I'm currently connected to the wireless LAN as well, so let me just disconnect to make sure I don't have any conflict. Connected to the guest Wi-Fi. Disconnect. Check that again, and there you go. So I'm now connected to only one of the to the family LAN, to this port. Let me do a ping to the google.com. There you go. And now I'm going to remove the UTP uplink from the backbone switch to the edge switch, and I should have a failing connectivity. There you go. And there you go. So I have removed this uplink. As you can see, it's the request timed out. Now what I'm going to do is have my fiber cable ready, which I don't have. Okay. I have the fiber, but okay. So I got these several LC to LC fiber cables that I'm going to use to demonstrate this connectivity. We got one pair. Let's get one pair. See how it works. Okay. Let me disconnect my PoE so that it doesn't really interfere with me much for this time being. Disconnect this one and set it aside. So now I can concentrate on the fiber module. Okay, so this is a, let me check on Amazon what's the model that I got. Link. Okay, so this is a TL-SG348 multimode fiber module. It's an LC connector in here. This is an LC connector. Let me remove that one. So this is an LC connector. You have to remove this dust protection cover, however you call it, in there. Okay, and I have two of them to provide an uplink. Okay, and let me here. Remove the dash cover protection from the edge switch. I'm just checking how it's connected. So again, this segment of my video is actually learn with me. So if I'm stumbling trying to learn this stuff, you know why. I'm doing this mostly unexperienced things, but I'm really interested to learn this stuff. My last configuration of the Cisco is like what, 20 years ago, so I'm not completely clueless, but my knowledge has been really way off and outdated. But anyway, so I have connected this one, and the next step is to get another port running on this one. Remove this one. That looks about right. Okay, that's about right. So let me just look at the model of the fiber module that I got. I'm surprised at the prices of these gigabit modules and fiber modules. It became a little bit more affordable and more readily available in Amazon, by the way. So this one is an LC to LC OM3 fiber optic cable, multi-mode cable, so it's capable of supporting 10 gigabit. My uplink can only my gigabit module is only a gigabit uplink, so I have more than enough to, for this cable. This is more than enough to support the module and both devices uplink. And again, as you can see on my screen, it's still request timed out. And again, most of my ports is configured as all, or in this particular case, all VLANs are flowing to all the ports unless I configure them otherwise. So what I'm thinking is that these ports are also configured as all, meaning the native VLAN should flow normally on those when I start connecting them. So this is how you connect the LC to LC. Still remember them, you remove the dust cap. These are the small white thingy. Okay, and try to avoid touching those endpoints because those are the fiber endpoints. See, let me remove this one. Okay, and let's see. That's how it should work. Second thought, maybe I should have not removed the white connector on the other one until I'm ready. But it should be okay. Okay, I think that's secured enough. Again, look at my screen. My consistent ping in here as I do this. I'm hoping that I will have an uplink soon. At least that's what I'm hoping once I get this going. So I'll start counting once I get this going. So 1, 2. Well, I started 1, and immediately the uplink is up, and there you go. I have made light, convert data, transfer data from one light to another. Interesting. So I find this really interesting. So again, I have the fiber module in here. Fiber cable connected to the gigabit module there. I think I might have twisted those cables. Okay, let me remove this one. Try it again and try to make sure I don't have it twisted the wrong way. But I really have to twist it because now that way. And there you go. So now I gotta save this stuff. So I got several of them in here. So just leave all these things in here for future use if I have to. So pretty straightforward, nothing too hard. At least in my experience, not too hard. As you can see, the configured it in here. I mean, I connected it in here, and let's see how it looks like in the Omada controller. Should I look here? I think it should be on the devices. Yes. So I would like to see whether the port shows it's an uplink. Let me go to the LAN, switch settings, and again, if there's a shortcut on how to check these ports, do let me know. I'm learning as I go here, as I click here. So yep, previously the 8 port, which is the LAN port in here, was the uplink. Now it shows that the SFP module is the uplink, and says gigabit internet, gigabit network connection, full duplex. It's an uplink to the backbone. As you can see here, I'm not sure if I can. Nope, I cannot move my mouse in there. But let me go to the backbone switch and check what happened there. And I have the 25th, 26th. So this one still have the uplink to the 24th port, which is this one, the blue one. It's an uplink from the router, and this one is actually the one. This one is the gigabit connection, port 25. So this one is counted as port 25, 26, 27, 20. I wish TP-Link will show this in a different way. I guess the software doesn't know how to identify which one is a fiber port, SFP port, versus the regular RJ45 port. On the router, they can identify it by saying this is an SFP1 and this is just the one. Would have been nice if TP-Link says this one is an SFP LAN or uplink, and the other one is also an SFP port. But yeah, like I have imagined, since all my networks, according to the network profiles, let me review that again. Network profiles, all networks, this is all. This is like VLAN all. If you think about this, is like VLAN all. These are all. That means all the VLANs that I have defined is in here. Okay, so let me go back to the network again. Okay, so management VLAN is the VLAN. Okay, profile is all. So if I look at the management VLAN, oh, nothing much I can do in here. How about the other ones? Let's see. Well, I can do much. Okay, so anyway, on this particular screen, what we can deduce is that in all, the native network is the management network, and this one is the 192.168.1 or .0, I believe. I keep forgetting. .0, yeah. So in all, the native network, which is the network that goes to the each uplink untagged, I believe. Okay. Again, correct me if I'm wrong with all my explanation, but this is what I can recall from whatever training that I used to do in 20 years ago in networking. But all I have the management net, which is the native network, which is like the untagged network on this trunk configuration. Okay. The family is the family, gas is the gas, IoT is the IoT, and management is management. So this is why I'm thinking, since this one is untagged, I should create another management VLAN purely for management, and the native network just completely remove it altogether for security. I'm trying to recall my training from some time ago, but I think that's how I should go. But for this purpose of this particular video, for this demonstration, I would like to just have the fiber uplink working between two devices, and again, like as I can demonstrate here, it is properly working. So that one works really well. And let me check again my IP. I'm in the family LAN, I'm not in the management network. If I go if I plug my cable, so let me do that again. Ping.com. So we'll remove my, yeah. So this particular port 7 is specifically configured as a family, so it's an access port. I'm going to connect it to a trunk port with configured native VLAN 1, so I should get a management VLAN IP address. Okay, there you go, local.lan. I have the 192.168.0.43. Okay, so I got that one properly, thank goodness. Okay, okay, so let me look at some things again. I just want to show how to configure those ports on the edge switch. So let me configure the port 7. As you can see, it's port 7 is a family VLAN, and the native VLAN on the family VLAN is the family VLAN 192.168.0 192.168.10.0. Okay, so let me do that to all, see what happens in there. Okay, so configure that one to all. Let's try a consistent ping again, and let me do this again. Okay, I should still have this that 0 network or IP address. That 0. Let me configure the port 8 again. Okay, let's review what I should have here. So if I configure a port, an access port, as a family VLAN, which is VLAN 10, the native network or that I should get is from the family. Okay, and if I configure one of the ports as the guest 20, IoT is 107. So just for this particular testing, let me configure the port 8 as an IoT network. So let me do that. So I'm expecting when I connect my cable to the port 8, I should get a .107 IP address. Okay, do that. Okay, so the profile is all, again, all in the all network. The native network is the management VLAN, so the default IP that you always get is the .0 or that .0, yes. IoT, and apply, and then it says successful, and let me do a consistent ping. Should work. Disconnect, reconnect. Go, and I got an IoT VLAN, IoT.LAN 107, and there you go. That's how easy it is to configure networking in all these devices. Everything is pretty much straightforward, at least from this particular configuration. It's making sense to me how these things work. I'm still getting confused from time to time, but it's all just my understanding of how native VLAN works, how tag networks works, and how the trunk port works. Not sure if I would like to do some ALG configurations in here as well, but there's no need. But maybe just for fun, I'll do that because I still have another SIP port in here, and I would like to see how I can configure them to do that. I'm not sure whether the firewall policies of this router can do stateful, I think is the term, check of the packets, or whether they just do mostly ACLs on the subnets and hosts, and not necessarily the interconnectivity and the states of the connectivity of these devices. I'll find out more if and when I choose to, when I have the time. I try to do as much video as I can whenever I'm trying to configure this, so I'd like to really configure this, but I'd like to share this with you guys to learn with me or fail with me, and or learn with my failure, so that you can see what you can do to improve your own configurations. Okay, so um, I noticed as well yesterday in my previous video that one of my devices have an update. This one, this red one, it says new firmware available, and since I'm already in this video, I would like to share with you how to do the update. So maybe I click this one. Nope, I don't think. Oh, this one is checking for update, so you need to read the tooltips. Oh, there you go. This is the upgrade, which makes sense. It has an up arrow, and this one is like the reboot. This one is duplicate. So this is a router config. Let me do a consistent thing on quad. My goodness, if I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. And let's do an upgrade together. And I'm just going to read it in here. TL-ER7206 version 1.0, firmware version 1.0.1, latest version is 1.1.0, so it's a huge jump from 1.0.1 to 1.1.0. The firmware is fully adapted to the Omada SDN controller 4.3.5, which is my current Omada controller version. Added support for IPv6. Oh, that's awesome. Add support for daylight saving time finally. I believe it's supported it already, but you have to manually configure it. Let me check that, and sometimes I'm lazy to check that and do that on manually. Add emergency mode to recovery the firmware. Please refer to FAQ3062. Optimize the priority of 1-to-1 NAT and IPsec. Okay. New features in controller mode. PP, TPL to TP VPN can be selected as the interface for static route and policy routing. Okay, that's interesting. The firewall parameters can be adjusted. I don't know what that means, but routing table, VPN, dynamic DNS, and port forwarding status can be displayed on the inside page. I haven't really looked into the inside page, so I can't really say what's going to happen or what it's not being displayed. So maybe before I update, I'll check those kind of things as well. So new features in standalone mode. Okay, so let me check FAQ3062 first and see what that actually means. Uplink. Is that the one? Emergency mode to recover the firmware. Okay. So May 26, 2021, relatively new. Okay, add emergency mode to recover the firmware. So in a few cases, your Omada gateway may become bricked during the firmware upgrade. Oh man. Okay, the most common causes is an unpredictable power failure. This article will guide you to enter the emergency mode to recover the firmware. Okay, so basically when I start upgrading my router, I might have an issue. Download the latest firmware for your Omada gateway website to unzip it between. Oh, okay, I can download it. Connect your computer to the Omada gateway. Okay, go to the control panel, blah blah blah. Okay, so that's the FAQ. I'll leave it open in case I break my 7206 during the upgrade. And let me just check the other FAQ. There are some notes still. Oh, I missed. I'm reading some notes. Okay. New features in standalone mode. Multi-networks are supported. I don't know what that means. LAN to LAN ACL are added to manage the behavior between networks. I don't know what that means. Bug fixed. Fix the bug that TTL of the packets is reduced by 2 after forwarding. Fix the bug that the existing sessions cannot be switched to the backup one when performing the link backup. Well, I haven't encountered this, so maybe others have reported this, but I have done this during maybe my first or second video. Well, I keep switching the backup and the primary, and everything works just fine. I even counted, I think the longest time it took was 18 seconds for the primary session, for the primary link to come back up, but it's good. They have fixed it. Notes for ER7206 version 1.0 and version 1.6. I think I have a version 1.0. Okay. Your device's configurations won't be lost after upgrading, so that's good. This firmware is applied to the Abode app version of version 3.0.x or above. I need to look at the Omada app as well. Okay, so let me just look at the other things as well in the inside. So policy routing, new features in standalone mode. I'm not going to use the standalone mode. Standalone basically is if you don't want to have the Omada, and this is the reason why I like the TP-Link Omada ecosystem. In the Unify line, I have to do SSH. I'm not the best guy for configuring networks using SSH, and I have to always review and read on the commands that I needed to learn to configure the routers every time I want to do anything advanced with it, because I have to SSH and do those commands on the command line interface. In the TP-Link Omada ecosystem, what I noticed that you can still use the web interface to configure most, if not all, of the advanced features of the device. Again, I don't have an in-depth experience of both the Unify and the TP-Link ecosystem. I do have what you call a surface level experience of the configuration settings of those both systems. But from that experience alone, SSH versus web interface, for the purists and the Unix guys, I'm pretty sure they like SSH. But for the newbie guy like me, web interface is so easy to navigate and just easy to use. Just type it on the browser, everything's on the Windows. You don't have to type too many words, click, and most of it are done. So yeah, so that's the reason why I like the standalone. But anyway, I digressed. I'm not going to look at the FAQ 30661 because I don't really use the standalone mode. I just figured I'd share that bit of information with you guys. Okay, so what other things in here? They did mention about the inside and the DST, so let me look into that one. I know about the DST, and I'll check what's gonna happen. Show you guys. So this one, what I noticed was when I was trying to play with it for some time, in my previous experience with TP-Link, if you click enable, everything is automatically configured. It knows, since I'm in the US, it knows the DST settings that I'm supposed to have. So in here, as you can see, I have to say what time of the week, Sunday, January, the time, everything, ends, application, and don't want to mess with it anymore. So I'm pretty sure I can Google it and put the necessary information, but I don't want to. I'm just too lazy for that, and it doesn't really matter for the timing. But I'd really like to have that feature added, so I'll definitely check that once I have upgraded my router. And it says there was something about Insight. So I should have taken that one. Something about the Insight, about the forwarding status. So let me go to, no, not that one, devices again, and see what they mean about it. Oh look, interesting, because I clicked this one accidentally earlier, it started to check for all firmware updates for all my devices. Okay, so now almost all of them have this freaking red thingy and upgrade notes. Let me just do this check again one more time. Maybe my wall access point already have an upgrade as well. So how do I check that upgrade notes again? Maybe I need to click this one. Okay. Yep, I need to. So that's the DST, and read more for the inside. They did mention something about the inside routing table. BPN, DDNS, and port variants can be displayed on the inside page. So how is it displayed at the moment? So I don't want to go away from this page, so that's why I launch another one. That's the only reason why I launch another one, in case you're wondering. Okay. And again, it's so slow. Need to have a new laptop, I think. And I even have a log. Interesting. Okay, let me look at the log first. Oh, the backbone was disconnected, router was disconnected. It was when I removed the backbone was connected. Backbone was disconnected. When was this? 925 and 926. Oh, okay. When I disconnected the router was disconnected. I don't know why the router was disconnected. I never disconnected the router from here to here. But oh, okay. Now I know what happened. So since my OC300 is connected to the edge switch, when I remove the uplink from the edge switch to the backbone, definitely it cannot detect the router and it cannot detect the backbone. So that's why it shows that error. So let me archive and then remove that one. Let me repeat that in case, just to make sure I'm clear. So originally I have a UTP connection between the edge switch and the backbone switch. So I have that connected in there. And my OC300 is connected to the edge, as you can see here on this particular diagram. So everything else is connected to the backbone switch. The backbone switch is just a distribution switch to the edge switch. At least that's my idea. I'm not gonna go into detail on that one, but anyway, the edge switch is like this. And when I disconnected the connection between the edge switch and the backbone switch, of course the OC300 loses the connection to the router, because in order for the OC300 to reach the router, it has to go to the edge, to the backbone, then to the router. I disconnected it, therefore it shows it's an error. Okay, so that covers it. And let me check this again. Launch it. Okay. Oops. So it says here, so I'm going to check the routing table. BPN, DDNS, and port can be displayed on the inside page. On the inside page. DDNS. Well, maybe there's still an option in here. I'm not sure what you're supposed to see here. The routing table is here, the gateway, and the switch. Yes, I don't have any routing rules, but says here the status can be displayed. So maybe in the past, or in this particular current state of this firmware, it's not being displayed. I don't have anything. I don't plan to add any routing rules yet. I think that's pretty interesting. Maybe I can add that routing table. I don't know how to add anything yet, but and no dynamic DNS entries. I know I'm not gonna worry about that. So fix the bug. LAN to LAN ACL are added to manage the behavior between networks. Maybe I should try to explore that more. Okay, so anyway, so now I'm not gonna update for now. It looks very interesting for me. Let me check the other upgrade notes on the other devices. New feature, add ether type. So I'm now looking at my PoE on my H device, the targeted firmware upgrade for this one. So it's still 0.0.1, 2.0.3, so a minor upgrade. Add ether type value for switch ACL controller mode. Okay. Add switch status in the insight list controller mode. Add switch status in the insight switch status. Okay. I don't really know what those two means. So let me check the ether type. What I mean by that. So ether type. Again, learn with me. And this video is a 2-octet field in Ethernet frame. Oh, okay. Okay. Forgot about that one. Okay. Choose at the receiving end by the data link layer to determine how the payload is processed. The same field is also used to indicate the status of some Ethernet frames. It's also used as the basis of A2.1 equivalent tagging scope. Okay. So it's one of the fields. So ether type is one of the fields. So add ether type value for switch ACL. So for switch ACL, let's check that one out. Oh, why did I close that one? Okay, let me go to here, and I think the ACL is. Let me go to the LAN. Come on. Okay. Profile. Switch settings. Nope, it's not in the profile. Native network isolation bandwidth control. Maybe in here. ACL. There you go. Switch ACL. EAP ACL. Gateway ACL. So added ether type. So status, policy denial protocols. So maybe they have added something in here. Okay, not gonna touch that one yet. Okay, so let me go here. Add switch status in the insight list controller mode. Okay, right now I'm gonna go inside switch status. VPN status. Oh, okay. So now it says here there's a switch status in here. Interesting. I have a switch status in here. Not sure what this means. Okay. Is it, am I under insight? Yes, I'm under insight. I have switch status. Okay, I don't know what that means. So optimize the configuration logic for switch STP and loopback detection function controller mode. STP could be spanning tree protocol. Optimize the configuration logic for switch spanning tree protocol and loopback of okay. Add PoE utilization card in the dashboard controller mode. Okay. Call it dashboard. And I believe these are called the cards. Maybe. So it's good. Okay, I have gateway switches, one access point, two clients, and servers. Yeah, okay. Add switch serial number information at devices details overview controller mode fully adapt blah blah blah. Okay, read more. For SG348 2.0 only, firmware is only compatible with Omada controller version 4.1.5. Okay, so that one is done. So this is for the PoE switch, and let me check. This one is 1.0.0. Let's look. So very minor upgrade 1.0.1. Add the layer 3 features, DHCP service, layer 3 interface, and static routing. Very interesting. So okay, okay, so this one is for the, sorry about that, the first one that we read is actually for the backbone switch, and let me just check that again. Okay, and this one is for the edge switch system. So they're saying add layer 3, so this one can now route. Oh, DHCP service, okay. Layer 3 interface and static routing. I could be, maybe I'll find out what it really means. Add ether type, okay. Add switch status. Optimize the configuration logic for switch, STPM, loopback. So spanning tree protocol, very similar to the other one. Add POE, okay. Okay. So let me add the back, no, the edge switch first. Let me upgrade that one. Let me do an upgrade. I clicked it. Yeah, wait. Oh. Okay, it says downloading. Okay. I wonder if it's going to reboot. I'm currently connected to the edge switch. I'm thinking I should be connecting to, no, even if I connect to the backbone switch, everything will still be disconnected. So I'm thinking moving forward, for the purpose of this testing and upgrading and everything, I should connect my what you call that, my OC300 to the router, so it's always connected, always detects everything else because it's connected to everything else, rather than that the in here, because I'm trying to connect it like the way it should work once I have it set up on my home, and just configure and change all the passwords and change all the IP addresses. But for this purpose of the lab and learning scenarios, I'm thinking it's much better if I have this terminated or connected to the routers, so that I don't lose connection and configuration capability. Because I'm thinking once it's downloaded and upgraded, my OC300 will get disconnected again and I will lose connectivity. Or what I can do is directly connect my, yeah, I still need to directly connect my laptop to the OC300, and then my OC300 is connected to router, so I always have just one hop away to the gateway, and whatever happens to the backbone switch and to the edge switch, I'm not really gonna be disconnected to the router interface. So I don't want to change anything yet until this one is fully downloaded, but that's what I plan to do. I don't want to break anything in here, so oh, I can hear it. So as you can see here, it's connected. I can hear my switch rebooting and all the lights turned off. I'm not sure if you can see it on the cameras, but all the lights here turned off, and the fan started spinning, and no activity is happening on the OC300. This is what I'm saying, that I would like to have this terminated in here, because now I cannot reach the OC300, and that means I cannot make any configurations, nor I'm running blind now actually. So this, the one that you can see on the screen, is pretty useless. It's not up to date anymore because I'm not connected to anything. So until such time that I establish connectivity, there you go, it's still rebooting, still upgrading. until such time that I have established connectivity. I'm not really sure what's happening. I mean, I can connect this to the router and see everything, but I don't want to break everything. I'm not sure how everything is configured, whether the Omada controller needs to maintain connectivity to the router to the same port to make sure the firmware has upgraded properly. I'm thinking it shouldn't, but I don't know. So it's still disconnected, so I still have a consistent ping to the DNS. So now I have established connectivity to the DNS. Okay, let me just break that one, and let me refresh with the clients, click devices. It's just adapting. Oh, and heartbeat missed. Okay, okay, now it is 0 days, 0 days, and it's adapting, and it missed the heartbeat because of course the PoE switch rebooted. Since it's a PoE where my AP is connected, it lost connection, resulting in a heartbeat missed, and I lost my connectivity to the OC300, but I don't understand why. It's provisioning on the router and adapting on this one. Again, not sure what's happening there, but I can understand the heartbeat missed. The age I can partially understand because I have upgraded the firmware, but I have not upgraded the firmware of the backbone or the router, so I'm not sure why it says provisioning here or adapting in here. So let's do the clients, devices again, to make sure. Okay, it's connected. Still heartbeat missed on the AP, and I don't have any reboot connection in here. It's probably still rebooting as well. So clients, devices, still heartbeat missed. Okay, okay. And again, let me do that. Let me configure. I'm just thinking. Let me configure my wired networks. Okay. My interfaces. I'm trying to connect the interface. Okay. To the management. To the LAN. Thinking profile. I'm trying to think how I can. Okay, it's in the management. LAN 1 is already connected, so that's good. Okay, how about in the family? Do I need to configure that on the interface? I don't think so. But let me start doing that now. So the IP address of my controller, let me see this one. The IP controller is 151, so let me do a 151. Okay, let me move that one. It's gonna get thrown off. Let's see, I can. Okay, so now again I'll connect. It's gonna be disconnected again, so I'm disconnecting my laptop's connectivity, and I would like to put it back here again. And this is for the sake of making sure that I have. And there you go. So let's see what's my IP in here. I should have the that 0. Okay, I'm in the .0, and I should have full connectivity again with my devices in here. Okay, the wall AP is now sure about this one. I thought I updated this and it's 1.0 to 1.0.1. Okay, so the H device has been updated, and let me just update my drawing. Okay, so this one is actually now connected to the router. So let me put it in there. So, and this one is connected to this one. So yeah, okay, I think this is a much safer approach and route when you're trying to learn more about this stuff. Um, that's pretty much it. Basically, we have done a reconfiguration of the network from here, all UTPs to here with a fiber uplink, as you can see here from the video, and we have installed the GBIC module, and I have also shown how to upgrade the the firmware of one of the device, and how it works, how it functions. That's pretty much it. I'm going to upgrade everything else off cameras, and I'll see you on the next video.